Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming from Rebuilding Together Houston, I have the CEO and Executive Director, Christine Holland. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. I mean, I've had you all on the program before, but this is my first time having you here, the CEO. She makes things happen. She's the executive director, and with Rebuilding Together Houston, that is something that we're going to be doing for probably about 10 years now, Christine.
I think that Houston has more resources than New Orleans had after Katrina, but you're right. I mean, Katrina is still not completely finished, the work of rebuilding.
And that was 2005.
Yeah, exactly. So you hit the nail on the head. In Houston, we think we can get a lot done over the next 4 to 5 years, and we're here to help as many people as we can. For 36 years, Rebuilding Together Houston has provided no-cost home repairs to low-income senior citizens, U.S. military veterans, and people with disabilities. Last year was a very good year for us, even not thinking about Harvey. We had over 5,000 volunteers, and we helped over 750 homeowners.
Oh, wow.
But now thousands and thousands of Houstonians are affected by Harvey, and there is so much more for us to do. So this past week, with the weather being really cold, our team was out inspecting homes for the rebuilding that we're doing in the month of January, which is mostly going to be in Independence Heights this month. And one of our inspectors found a woman using her oven to heat her house.
Oh, yeah, the old growing up in the hood or in the projects trick to keep the house warm.
But even more so if you don't have any sheetrock or insulation, or if the storm damaged the exterior of your house. I'm just so glad to be here with you today to talk about what our neighbors need and to let your listeners know what they can do to help.
Absolutely, and that is what we do up here. I say on this program all the time, I use this platform because this is my second show. I have another show on Magic 102 at night. But this show in particular, I use it to make us, the whole community, all of Houston, or how far we reach, if it's Northeast Texas, to make us more aware. And to let us know about services and things that are going on. And Rebuilding Together Houston is definitely one of those staples that are in the community. How did they start? Give us a brief history of
Rebuilding Together's been around for 36 years. It was started by Rob Mossbacher and a bunch of other businessmen who felt that there were a lot of things that needed to be done in the community. And they worked on a lot of different things in the beginning, because even in those days, there was a lot of need in Houston. And then over the course of time, they found that the rebuilding work was the biggest gap and where they could make the most impact. So today, Rebuilding Together is still very much supported by corporate partners who are on our board and corporate teams that come out and repair houses. But we're also supported by faith-based groups, by schools, all different sorts of volunteer teams.
Indeed.
So,
yeah. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Christine Holland, who is the CEO and Executive Director for Rebuilding Together Houston. What was the response like for you all for Harvey? Were you getting just inundated with calls for people helping and or calls for people wanting to help? We
actually had both. I think we probably have right now in our system about 2,000 homeowners that need help, and we're going to have even more coming in. We had a lot of homeowners prior to Harvey that needed our help, and we're going to continue working for them. Harvey is just something additional that is going on for us. We had you are here. You saw the outpouring of support, the Cajun Navy, people from church groups around the country, all the people
just
that
individuals.
Were here. Yes, people just driving around till they saw somebody that needed help. That was what was happening right after the storm. And a lot of those people contacted us, and that wasn't the time for us. Now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time for us. We've got homeowners that need help. We have materials. We have tools. We have everything we need, but we need more volunteers.
Indeed. So with that, what must one do to become a volunteer for Rebuilding and with Rebuilding Together Houston?
Well, the easiest thing is to go to our website, rebuildinghouston.org, and hit the volunteer button. You can volunteer as an individual. You can volunteer as a team. We do, in the wake of Harvey, need volunteers that have specific skills like hanging sheetrock, carpentry, people who have some painting expertise. But anyone can come work with us because we have a few skilled people on every crew, and then every other person that just has a willing heart and willing hands, we can teach them. We can teach them right on the job site how to do these things. Mm-hmm. So not only are they helping their neighbors, but potentially they're going home with a skill set that they didn't have before. I'm amazed in the short time that I have been at Rebuilding Together Houston, I've learned quite a few things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've actually got some construction type skills now.
Oh, well, let me find out, Christine. What is it that we can do now?
Well, I actually asked Santa for a caulk gun, and I got one.
Wow.
He delivered. So I'm a master caulker.
You're going to be caulking, though. What needs to be done first, the kitchen or the bathroom?
Well, actually, I was caulking the exterior of homes. But caulk is everywhere.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're getting into it there.
And it really is. It's so rewarding to work with Rebuilding Together Houston. We're a little different than other volunteer opportunities. Mm-hmm. Many of our volunteers say this is the best experience they've ever had. At the end of each day, they can see the results of what they did. We connect our volunteers directly and personally to the homeowners. A lot of times a crew will line up and each person will hug the homeowner before they call it quits for the day. So just building that
relationship.
Yeah.
And it's that sense of family and togetherness.
It's an amazing feeling.
Duh. Together is in the title of the organization.
Exactly. And it's really interesting. I found out that we have 30 crews that have returned to work with Rebuilding Together for 10 years or more.
Wow.
And we have several crews that have been with us for over 25 years. So
they're committed. Once they're in, they're there for life.
Oh, once you've had the experience, you want to have it again. I mean, it really does help so much. And like I said, volunteering with us is something anybody can do. We'll find a crew for individuals, and we want your listeners to come and make a difference in the community. Put your hands and your heart to work. We'll help you.
Indeed. And that's what the spirit of Houston is. I have to tell you, during the brunt of the hurricane and the flooding, I wasn't here. I had flew home that weekend. I'm from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, and I had flew home just that quick weekend because my brothers, they were throwing a fight party. There was the Mayweather-McGregor boxing match that weekend. And so what was supposed to be just a little quick weekend out on a Friday, back on a Sunday, ended up being 9 days because of Harvey. Right. Mm-hmm. And was just very frustrated that I wasn't here to be able to help. And felt what people were going through once I got back, even though the water was receded, things kind of were beginning to get back to normal for folk. I definitely could tell that, something happened here because it just felt differently. I was just the debris on the corners and everything. And then I was trying to get gas, couldn't get any gas, couldn't get anything to eat. I just so happened to find a food truck in one of the shopping centers along Westheimer. So I was lucky enough to get food. But as I'm getting that food, there's two guys that's waiting on theirs, and they're talking about, man, I hope we can get back to closer to downtown before the curfew kicks in. And I forgot about that. I was like, oh, man. So in that moment, I thought, wow, I can only imagine what people were going through while they were in the thick of it. And watching it back home in Ohio on the news, it was just it was remarkable to see how everybody was helping everybody, because earlier that month we had saw those races in Charlottesville, and I was like, this cannot be where we're going. But watching Houston do it themselves and help everybody regardless of whatever situation, it restored my faith in humanity. And I was just so grateful for that. I was like, look at my city. I'm proud to say I've only been here 5 years, but this is home for me.
Home, right?
Yeah, it is.
Well, we all can see our own friends and family struggling with the stress and the magnitude of what it takes to recover from this storm. When you consider the neighbors that Rebuilding Together serves, they don't have the resources or the network to even begin to rebuild. Like you said, the debris on lawns was something that was just shocking. Oh. It's like the whole interior of a house out on the street. Well, let me tell you, for these people, the debris is gone, but we know that there are people living in homes that have no walls.
Yeah.
We know there are people living in houses where mold is growing on the walls.
Get out of my head.
Because we haven't even taken out the sheetrock and insulation. And just as a human being, to think of other people living in those conditions,
right?
It's hard. We want to get them all back to a safe and livable home as quick as we can.
Because the long-term health complications from that it could be at times fatal.
Yeah, it could. So one of our favorite homeowners is Miss Barbara. Mm-hmm. She's 77 years young. And she has the most beautiful and loving spirit. We were out visiting with her just before Christmas. Mm-hmm. And Miss Barbara has worked hard to raise her kids, and her home, it's the anchor for her extended family. Her 2 remaining sisters, her son, all her nieces and nephews, everybody goes to Miss Barbara's house. And when Hurricane Harvey struck, she had 3 feet of water in that house. Mm. She knew about Rebuilding Together because we had helped her with some repairs in 2015. Mm-hmm. So she reached out to us again. We answered her call, and her home, as of last week, is safe and livable again.
Oh, see, that's a great story.
It's one of the first, but we are going to be doing so many more. We hope to do 250 this year.
Wow.
And we'll do more if we have the resources. And you know, everybody can have a share in this. If you can't volunteer, then donate. But we really need all our neighbors.
Yeah. Where can they go again to sign up to volunteer?
Rebuildinghouston.org. And you also can call our office. The phone number there, 713-659-2511.
Indeed. Oh, we're all in this together. So
we can rebuild Houston together.
We can rebuild Houston together, and we are. And we are. So I thank you so much for your time, Christine Holland, the CEO and Executive Director from Rebuilding Together Houston. Let's do that. And thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Come and rebuild a house for us.
Yeah,
I brought
absolutely.
you a T-shirt and everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, I'm handy. No, I absolutely would. That would that would lighten my heart to help out.
And
we'll do that.
Do something cool.
Good. And you'll come back later on in the year for a follow-up?
I would be thrilled to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth, welcoming a first-timer to the program. She is with Maven Business Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Miara Shaw. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good on this bright, early morning.
It is early, but you are here for a good thing. We are trying to make people aware. First of all, tell us about yourself and all about Maven Business Academy.
So I'm a personal development and business strategist for women. People always ask, why don't you cater to men? I'm like, well, you know, my thing is women. I have a few male clients. I just don't do a big push toward them. Mm-hmm. So we really help women move from stuck to execution.
Okay.
That's the big thing. Oftentimes fear, the need for perfection, all those things keep us frozen. Mm-hmm. And so we don't live the dream. We don't write the book. We don't do the deal, send the email, make the phone call, whatever it is. We get stuck because we're waiting on all of these perfect things to align. So the big thing that I do is move clients from stuck, whatever that is for you, to execution.
That sounds very necessary.
Yes.
As you're speaking that, I'm just thinking about myself and my own life, you know, because I'm in a spot where I'm in a place right now where I don't know what is really going on, to be honest. It's like I know what I need to do to push myself out there, expand the brand more. Like,
right.
But there's no...
What's the next step?
Well, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why the motivation isn't there. I think I need to see a therapist or maybe some. No, I mean, you're laughing. I'm dead ass.
No, but that's
or
you're,
like some
you're
sort of holistic, spiritual something. Like I need to know why this block is there.
That's a very common thing. It really is, because oftentimes we're stuck in our head. We're trying to think through step 30, and we're at step 5.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just take the very next step, I have a quote that says your CPR, capable, prepared, and ready for the very next step. Our attention gets on steps way down the road. I want to do this and do that. What's the very next thing you do? So oftentimes, if we take a very small step, what we need is just movement. And that small step gets us at least back in the game, off the bench and back in the game. You know, we have to just realize that being in the game, there's going to be some losses. There's going to be some confusion. There's going to be some missteps. It's all part of the journey. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, we'll talk
right.
off
He's
record.
like, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm talking to Myra Shaw from Maven Business Academy. So you help women get that kick thing going.
Right.
So how can entrepreneurs, we live in a very technological, social media driven world nowadays. Everybody gets their information on their phones or their tablets.
Right.
I was at a party and somebody was showing the crew a video on their iPhone. And yet there was a huge 80-inch screen on the wall, and everybody's gathered around this little phone. And I'm like, we got a whole TV hanging up there. Can't y'all just connect it and we can watch it? But with that, you teach entrepreneurs how to use technology to grow.
Yeah.
How so?
That movement in Maven Nation, that's the community of women that I call that follow me.
Okay.
We call that movement BAM, and it stands for Bust a Move.
Okay, bust the move.
Bust the move. That
Bam.
came from my trading world. I was prior oil and gas for 27 years, and I was a trader for 15 of those. So execution became the biggest thing that I needed in that space, because you didn't have time to use a lifeline and call your girlfriend and go, well, what you think? Well, what you think? I was trading it. I was in or out, buying it or selling it. Sometimes there's going to be some losses. And so that's one of the big things with execution, reminding people it's not going to all be perfect. We got to be okay with that. It's like this technology, social media, people show their highlight reels. And if you don't keep your perspective right, you will think that's how their whole journey is.
Right.
And so there becomes this pressure from the use of so much technology that it's not perfect. Mine is not purple like hers. It doesn't sparkle like hers. I can't put it out there. That's not your thing. I have another quote that says, find your lane and stay in it. Stay right there, because that keeps you from getting distracted while you're on Facebook, looking at somebody else's highlight reel and beating yourself up because you're not there, or you're not whatever you think that is. You're trying to be, you're comparing yourself to something that's oftentimes not even real. It's not even real. So technology, while we have been inundated with it, really affords us a lot of things. The biggest thing for entrepreneurs is that we can grow in a very streamlined way. Technology affords us ways to grow without hiring a staff of people. Most times as a startup, you cannot afford that.
Right.
But technology, there's a lot of tools.
It's the poor man's PR.
Absolutely. There's ways to do that without having to put a whole person into your budget and increase your overhead. Now, when you grow and you can afford that, that's great. Yeah. But I want entrepreneurs to know that there's lots of technology, tech hacks, tools that can help you grow without you feeling like you can't afford to hire a person to do it. You can still grow. Can we get one of those hacks on Access Houston this morning? Yeah. So one of the hacks that I use a lot is a system called Acuity. It's a scheduling system. Okay. So let's say someone goes to my website and they can schedule a free 15-minute clarity session for us to just kind of talk about where they are, if I have services that can help them. I don't need to spend 30 minutes on chat with them or 15 emails back and forth to figure out a date and time that works, because that's normally how that would go. Oh, this doesn't work for me. Does this work for you? No, I have a meeting. You go back and forth. This system allows it plugs into my calendar. So I set the parameters, what days I do certain things. When they click the link, it shows them the appointment time I have open. They click it, it saves it, puts it on their calendar. It sends me a notice. It puts it on my calendar. I can even set it up to send them a reminder a day before, 60 minutes before. Okay. Hey, you have an appointment coming up with Myra Shaw. This is the phone number you need to call. This is the access code. All of those things. I never have to touch that. So a way that I tell people to really evaluate when you should be looking for a tech tool is do a log of your time, at least 3 days. Things that you find you do over and over, repetitive. Right. That's a really good indication you should be using a piece of technology for that, because you can put it as many things as you can put on auto that are not direct lines to income. Mm-hmm. You want to do that. That way you're able to focus on the things that do bring you income.
And with that, it's also important to have a support system, some sort of network system. Yeah. Talk about why that is imperative.
For me, I found that's most imperative for those moments when I get stuck. We all experience it. Yeah. Just because I'm a coach or a public speaker standing in front of other people motivating them doesn't mean I don't need it as well.
Right.
And so that support network is critical when you are, I call it, the squiggly monkeys are getting too loud in your head, because they're going to tell you you're not ready. You don't have enough resources. You don't have enough whatever it is, fill in the blank.
Not the squiggly monkeys.
The squiggly monkeys. Exactly. Totally. And so you need to be able to reach out to someone that you trust to say, I have this idea. This is where I am. I don't know what to do with it. And you got to be okay being vulnerable enough with the person to say, I don't know. And they can help you with that. A big thing with this support system, you have to build these relationships before you need them. I call that making deposits before you need a withdrawal.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't just hit someone up randomly and spill some stuff.
Right.
You want it to be someone that knows you and your brand and what you're about, where you're trying to go. One of the great benefits to a positive network as well, they push you to be bigger, to be better. I might come and say, I have this idea. It's the size of this smartphone. And they're like, no, this idea is the size of this table. The reason I don't see that initially, because fear says, oh, just keep it small. You can handle that by yourself. You don't need anyone for that. You don't need help. You can handle the smartphone size. But when you start talking about the size of a table, then you have to go, okay, I'm going to have to connect with others, build some relationships, create some collaborations, all of those things. That stretches us. And that's what a good network, a good advisor, a good coach is going to help you do. Stretch yourself. As humans, we don't want to do that naturally. Mm-hmm. When discomfort shows up, what do? Mm-hmm. We shrink back.
Yep.
It's not just the person listening to this message. It's everybody. It's human nature. So you got to have people in your network that's saying, no, we're not going backwards. We're pushing forward to a bigger thing here.
I love that. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Myra Shaw from Maven Business Academy. She is motivating you to bust a move in 2018.
Yes.
BAM, bam,
yes.
Bust a move. As a matter of fact, you've got a conference that's coming up on January 27th, the Bust a Move Conference.
Yes.
And what will people endure at this conference? How is this set up?
So the experience we're creating is we're going to be teaching you how to use technology to elevate and accelerate your growth. And we called it Believe It, Build It, and BAM. So the Believe It part is we're going to have Dr. Curleen Neely. She's out of San Antonio. That's going to be sharing with us how do we move past our backstory. That's one of the biggest things that keeps us frozen for today. Mm-hmm. I did it last time and it didn't fail, or I tried it and it didn't work. You got to be able to move past all of that to believe that the thing you're looking at is going to work for you. Might not be flawless. It probably won't. But you still got to believe. You got to believe it before you can execute on it. Then I have a team of other coaches called the BAM Squad, believe that, that's going to really be giving women tech hacks on the spot. These are some things they use in their business in everyday life. These are not hypotheticals. These are things we know that work. So we'll go through a lot of technology pieces that really help you take what you're learning and find a better way to implement it in your business.
And for the ladies listening, how can they register for the conference?
So they can go to my website, mirashaw.com/events. The events tab gives them all the details about who's speaking, cost, all of that. It's going to be January 27th at 9 a.m. at the Bell Tower in the Heights here in Houston.
Oh, nice. This is...
And guys are welcome. Let me say, there are some gentlemen that have bought some tickets.
Okay.
So it's not just for women. So the guys will feel welcome. We won't be doing any type of bashing at all. This is a one, we want everybody to grow.
Yeah.
Everybody. And that's the cool thing about technology. It has no face of male or female.
Right.
If you can implement it, you can use it.
Indeed. Log on to the website and be at the conference on the 27th, because she is going to give you all of the tools that you need to crush your 2018 goals.
Yes.
And
yes.
What's a way that one can start that now? Crushing their goals for 2018.
Their goals. I would say take one goal that you have. Mm-hmm. So you have the large goal, break it down into steps. So, for example, if your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you're not going to focus on losing 20 pounds every day. Your smaller goal is, I'm going to increase my water intake. I'm going to prep my meals for the week. I'm not going to eat out 5 times a week. Those are the smaller steps you can take to get to the goals. Yeah, because big goals sometimes are overwhelming. And if you're focused in that example on losing 20 pounds every day, geez, that's going to be discouraging. But the small steps, the baby steps, is what gets us to the big goal.
Oh, that is great. So listen, log on to
mirashaw.com/events
for the BAM conference. That's the Bust a Move conference that is happening on January the 27th. It's a Saturday.
Yes.
So save the date for that, and please give all of your social media so they can follow you. I mean, this is I hope you give out motivational stuff or little tips and tricks
all the time,
every day. Okay,
all the time.
So you need to follow Myra.
So on, you can follow me on any social media site at Myra Shaw, and that's MIARA. Same thing on my website, MIARA-shaw.com, and that's it. I made it easy. MyraShaw.com. Anywhere you're looking for me: YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Oh, man, this is going to be amazing. We need more people like you to help motivate.
Move us forward. Get us to BAM.
That's right. Get us to BAM.
Yes.
Get us to BAM. Thank you so much for stopping by.
My joy.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to Access Houston.